All right, I think we are ready to begin. So I'm opening the meeting at 7:08, actually. This meeting is held in compliance with the Open Meetings Law per Executive Orders 202.1 and continuing orders. And I'm advising you that the meeting has been noticed and it does comply with executive orders. And the meeting is also being recorded. So I am taking a roll call. I am here. Trustee Lang?
Yes, I am also here.
Trustee Noonan?
I'm here.
Excellent. Trustee Kjarval?
Here.
Excellent. And Deputy Mayor Kowalczyk is not here, but hopefully will join us. But there is a quorum. And I know that in the past, Mayor Blundell would ask for a moment of silence, and I think it's still appropriate to do that. So I would like to ask for a moment of silence for all those affected during COVID and those who continue to be affected, and to show enormous gratitude to all of the healthcare workers and all of the essential workers who have been going above and beyond and continue to do so. Thank you for that. And just as we're coming out of this crazy period, just a reminder to all of us to be gentle and kind, because it's been a long road. I would like a motion to approve the village board minutes from May 10th and the special meeting dated May 17th. May I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I thought they were quite complete.
I think we can thank Lara for that.
Yes.
All right, no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I will abstain, as I was not on the board at that time.
Hello, Karen. I'm back.
Ah, is that Brent?
Yes, having problem getting in.
I thought that might be the case. Lara, if you can have the record show that Deputy Mayor Kowalczyk has joined the meeting. We just approved the minutes, and now we are on to committee reports. Ray, if you would start with the treasurer's report.
Certainly. For the month of May, at the end of May 31st, 2021, the balance in the general fund was $326,694.76. The water fund, $172,168.73. Trust and agency, $23,251.77. Petty cash, $44.14. Village green, $4,502.92. Hard scrabble, $2,100.85. Health insurance, $3,693.29. And the sewer fund, $5,777.72. The reserve checking balances are as follows. The fire department, $5,032.87. Police, $14,583.79. USDA, $134,020.75. Highway, $20,784.87. The snow reserve, $3,279.39. The tower reserve, $17,710.83. Unemployment, $4,543.98. Court reserve, $3,298.48. Office reserve, $972.49. And the total monthly expenses for the month of May in the general fund, $148,054.12. The water fund, $30,808.47. Trust and agency, $993.03. And sewer, $2,348.56. Respectfully submitted, Ray Toll, Treasurer.
And I will make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as submitted by the village treasurer. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Brent. Any questions? Comments? No?
Is this the last monthly report for the fiscal year, right, Ray?
I don't know if I heard that correctly. I couldn't hear him very well.
The question
this the
was,
last-
is the last monthly report for the fiscal year?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great.
But there will still be some expenses, and will there be any income remaining to come in?
There may be, the way it's booked. I would say mainly some expenses, probably little income that would be associated with the last fiscal year.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the report?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I should
Aye.
probably go around, sorry. Still learning. Brent, I heard an aye.
Aye, yep.
Charlie?
Aye.
Will? Oh, sorry, trustee Noonan?
Aye. Will's okay.
Trustee Chiarval?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. Wonderful. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. All right, now we move to the other reports. And the report I have is the police report. for the
Madam
month
Mayor,
of- Yes,
before we go on, forgive the senior moment, but did we approve the minutes for May 10th and May 17th?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
So the police report in the month of May, there were 422 incidents, 303 in the village, 114 in the town, and 5 in the village of Tivoli. There were 58 UTTs. Have to admit, I don't think I know what that means.
It means uniform traffic tickets.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
So 34 in the village of Red Hook, including 1 parking ticket, and 23 in the town of Red Hook. And then there were 8 arrests, 4 in the village of Red Hook and 4 in the town. And that's what I have for the police report. And the other committees that I have here, Personnel, Economic Development, Insurance, and other, I don't have any reports or updates for that at this time. So after that, we have Will Noonan, Planning Zoning.
Okay, for May 2021, the building permits issued, this is for the zoning and planning. Building plan permits issued were 4. There were no certificates of occupancy issued. Certificate of compliance, there were 3 issues. Municipal searches, 2. There were no orders to remedy, stop work orders, court appearances, and the planning board actions as of May 13th, 2021. There were 4 essentially signage approvals by the planning board. The zoning board of appeals had 1 application that was tabled for 28 Prince Street. It was tabled until June 24th. For the building department dealt with 9 applications, 4 building permits, 3 certificates of occupancy searches, and 2 fire inspections. The total income from the building department was $2,460. In terms of the emergency services, we are still talking with the fire company about the contract with them. And I have nothing to report from Veterans Affairs.
I can say I hope that we will be in a position to have our public hearing for the fire services contract in July.
I think we're pretty close.
Great. Okay, next on the list is Deputy Mayor Kowalczyk.
I'm still trying to get in, so if I pop up, then I'm golden here. But I'll start with the Village Green monthly report, the current balances of the Village Green Committee's related budget accounts.
Brent, if
As
you
of
can
May
speak
3rd,
up a little bit more, that would be helpful.
Sure. Current balances of the Village Green Committee's related budget accounts as of May 31st are as follows. Community beautification, we have $663.94. Shade tree contractual, we're negative $3,100. That's because we did a little extra work pruning trees last spring. And the Village Green checking account is $4,502.92. And there were no Village Green committees meetings held during the month of May. And anyone interested in having a tree or trees planted on their adjacent village right-of-ways, volunteering for planting days, or making a donation to support the Village Green's various community beautification projects may contact David Pearson, myself, or the village clerk. And we did receive a list of trees that are anticipated to be removed. There's quite a list. I will circulate them amongst the officers of the Village Green Committee, and I don't think there'll be a problem, but we're looking at removing them soon, some of them anyway, and maybe removing some of the others later in the year. The Village Highway Department monthly report. The Village Highway Department is picking up leaves and brush every first Monday of the month, and that's cool and weather permitting. And residents are reminded to place lawn, leaves, and brush in separate piles, curbside and not in the road. And please limit the brush piles to one per household per month. And limit the size of the brush piles to 6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet, with tree branches no larger than 6 inches in diameter. And brush that includes tree trunks, stumps, garbage, or construction material will not be picked up. And neighbors are encouraged to share a brush pile if theirs is smaller than that, and it may pick up quicker and easier.
Brent,
the
if I
village
can
rece-
just, if I can
Sure.
just pipe in, I spoke with our highway superintendent this morning, and last week the brush was not picked up because there was an issue with the equipment.
Right.
And they are doing brush pickup. They should have done some today, and they hope to do the rest tomorrow for this month.
Great. And the village received concerns regarding the high volume level emanating from the rectangular rapid flashing beacon located at South Broadway and Fairleigh. Engineers from Delaware Engineering were able to reduce the noise level and maintain safe audible signals. So we did get, they are pretty loud, so they did quiet the sound down a little bit. Projects to be funded by the New York State fiscal year 21-22 CHIPS apportionment. Village street trees to be pruned or removed and catch basins to be pumped and cleaned or forthcoming by the Village Highway Department for the Board of Trustees consideration. So we received the list of trees. We're waiting for the projects for tips, and estimates on pumping and cleaning the catch basins, and they're forthcoming. Excuse me. And there were no sales of scrap metal during the month of May. And total revenue generated from the sale of scrap metal, which will end our fiscal year, is $4,832.19, and that's about almost $3,000 over what we anticipated in receiving as revenue. And since we began the program back in 2007, we've raised $36,292.31. And the proceeds from this program do go toward the purchase of tools and equipment for highway, water, and materials management departments. Residents, businesses interested in donating scrap metal may contact the Village Highway Department at 845-758-8600 or the Village Clerk's office. And the Highway Department will assist property owners by picking up scrap metal upon request. Next report is the Intermunicipal Task Force and the Red Hook Infrastructure monthly report for the sewer project. Meetings were held on May 5th, 7th, 14th, and 19th via telephone conference call and at the Red Hook Village building. We received a lot of paperwork, which kind of filed a lot of stuff, and I'm not going through every one of those, but we did have an apportionment resolution public hearing. and all the necessary public notices were sent out. The village received a supplemental certificate amending and supplementing the hereinafter defining closing certificate from the New York State EFC, or Environmental Facilities Corporation. The village also received the plan and specification technical approval for both the prime general contractor and the prime electrical contractor, and the basis of design report on May 27th from the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation. The village received confirmation of receipt of all required documentation requested by the USDA on May 7th, and the village received approval of the amended map plan report from the Dutchess County Department of Environmental and Behavioral Health in May of 2021. So we're now where we're at. There's still a bunch, but where we're at, the prime general contractor has submitted a draft contract, and it's currently being reviewed by our village attorneys. And we're still, as far as I know, waiting for the prime electrical contract to be submitted so we can review that. So the timeline that we have anticipating right now is we're hoping to start construction at the earliest in September of 2021, substantial completion by November 2022, and final completion by December of 2022. The Village of Red Hook Water and Sewer Administration Project, a meeting was held on May 28th at the Village Building with representatives from Delaware Engineering. And so we reviewed quite a bit of stuff, including a schedule of water leak repairs, fire hydrant flushing schedules, a water valve exercising schedule with associated costs, which is, I believe, and Karen, correct me if I'm wrong, but the valves have been exercised throughout the village, and as they're doing that, they are getting the size and location of the valves on a map that will be shared by our highway department and water department for future repairs and maintenance. And also a repair and maintenance program for the Red Hook water treatment plant will be prepared by Delaware Engineering and our water operator C3ND. A proposal to repair and prepare for operations, repair the operations of the village and town water interconnect was discussed, and we discussed an engineering report with a possible bond resolution to assist the village to qualify and submit applications for funding from county, state, and federal funding agencies. It's kind of a mini water project to take care of some various aspects, some which I had mentioned there. And a repair and maintenance program will be prepared by Delaware Engineering and C3ND for the Red Hook Village wastewater treatment plant. And a monitoring and maintenance program will be prepared by Delaware Engineering and C3ND for the Red Hook municipal sewer system. So we'd like to get that in place before the sewer is up and running. On the task force side, both Charlie and I sit on the task force as representatives and members of the task force. We had a meeting on May 14th at the Red Hook Town Hall, and the task force approved the action of sending final drafts of the use table, annual operating permit, and the one-time exemption to the Red Hook Town Board for their review, public hearings, review, and approval regarding short-term rentals. And we did do a recap of the past 17 years of accomplishments and projects that have been addressed by the task force. And we also discussed projects that may be addressed by the task force at future dates. And one more. So there were no meetings of the Town of Red Hook Zoning Review Committee, which I'm a member of, or the Saltkill Watershed Community. On the Saltkill Watershed Community, issue 17 of the Saltkill Watershed newsletter was circulated. The issue included individual versus collective environmentalism. May is American Wetlands Month, and a brief history of monitoring the Saltkill. The Community Preservation Fund Advisory Board, which I'm a member of, met on May 26th via Zoom to review the revised application for the Red Hook Town Community Preservation Fund funding for the Mosier Farm. All members were present. along with Aaron Hoagland from Dutchess County Land Conservancies. The CPF Advisory Board confirmed the Red Hook parcels were eligible for CPF by reviewing the project plan, and the parcels' conservation values are related to agriculture, water quality protection, ecological and agricultural gateway, scenic corridor, scenic road eligibility. And the parcels in Group 3, which is third highest for agriculture and water solutions. So the Community Preservation Fund Advisory Board recommended that the town fund this application. A public hearing is scheduled, actually took place on June 8th to discuss and have the board review and approve the application. The current balance of the Community Preservation Fund as of May 31st is $2,179,157.99. That's $2,179,057.99. The LWRP Local Waterfront Revitalization Program.
Brian, can I
Yes.
just ask a quick question? Can you say how much of the CPF funds is going to the Moser Farm easement acquisition?
Yes.
Looks like it
So
was,
it's $116,000.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it
obviously
it
we'll-
actually went up. They resubmitted their original appraisals. Were lower. They did a reappraisal of it, so it went from the request of 82,000 to 116,000. So this is being funded by both Dutchess County Land Conservancy, the town CPF. There's portions of this property in the town of Rhinebeck, and I believe they're financing their own sections of it. So the town of Red Hook Community Preservation Fund is only on the hook for $116,000.
right. No, I mean, that's a small proportion of the total cost.
Yeah.
And good
Plenty
use of
more.
funds. Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome. So the LWRP working group did meet on May 19th and 27th via Zoom. And we had Lisa Basilicas from the New York State Department of State attending the meeting on the 19th, and we reviewed the format and organization of the required 3 public meeting workshops to review the proposed amendments to the LWRP. We drafted and reviewed and revised the LWRP update outreach letter to members of the town of Red Hook community. We drafted and reviewed and revised a community survey to request additional thoughts and proposed actions to be listed or considered within the amended LWRP. And we reviewed the status of the New York State Department of State on their review process of the LWRP. There were no meetings of the Northern Dutchess Alliance Executive Committee and the Village of Red Hook Zoning Review Committee. Ray and I are both the surviving members on that committee. We had no meetings where we have received a preliminary draft of the legislation from our engineers, which we'll be reviewing. Still has to be submitted to the county along with the revised map. And we're doing a bunch of work on that, which I've been mentioning for several months on the ZRC, and they include what we're doing, amendments to Chapter 200, which is the zoning code of the Village of Red Hook. We are proposing to change the current highway business district to the gateway district, amend Section 200-11 regarding the use and bulk regulations of the proposed gateway district. We're adding one property currently in the R10,000 to the gateway district. That would be where the former Mercado's restaurant is. We're amending Section 200-9, R10,000 regarding special permitted uses for live-work units for properties located on East Market Street that are also in the sewer service area. And so we're moving forward. We're hoping to have this done by, hopefully so we can review it perhaps in July. I would say August at the latest. And that's all I have, Karen.
terrific. Thank you. And then we have Trustee Lang.
Thank you very much. So yes, I've got a couple of reports here. Sorry, Lara, for the late submission of the materials management numbers. I was having problems with my email, but they seem to be sorted out. So on the materials management front, for the month of May, we collected 1.08 tons of commingled, 50.55 tons of cardboard, 0.92 tons of paper, for a total recycling volume of 2.55 tons. And together with that, we collected 6.43 tons of garbage. Now, since this was the last month in the fiscal year, I was just looking at the numbers compared to last year, and that we're slightly down, ever so slightly down on the recycling volume over the course of the year compared to last year. Last year was 37.26 tons. This year is 37.11. So that's, actually almost identical, but we were down a little bit on the garbage volume, and that's also represented in a slight decrease in the total revenue. I think.
Charlie, can you tell if that's because less people use the garbage service or people were putting out less garbage?
We have the revenue. All the revenue is the ticket sales. And so we sold slightly fewer tickets this past year than the year before. I think it's just incumbent upon us to keep reaching out to friends, neighbors, and other village residents that, this is a good service that the village produces and provides for, and, it's a good option. We need to try and boost it as much as we can, because otherwise we might lose it. But for now, it seems to be going well, and the village people have multiple options. Let's convince them that they should use the village's option where possible.
Thank you for comparing. That's helpful.
And then with my Village of Red Oak Water Treatment Facilities monthly report. So for the month of May, the water treatment facility treated 7,589,400 total gallons, which is an average of 244,800 gallons a day. Here's our little sort of chart showing water usage over the past year. So long as we stay sort of around or just under 250,000 gallons a day, that seems to be where we should be. And when it starts to go much above that, then I think it suggests we have a problem, leaks or some, water not being tracked.
So Charlie?
Yeah.
Excuse me for interrupting, but when they were exercising valves, two valves actually broke.
Failed.
There's two leaks we know right now from the valves that they were replacing. So we're trying to get the valves in and make those repairs. So you see a little bit uptick, I think, in the water usage, and that may be a result of those leaks. So we did fix the valves, but because they were old, they weren't fully cooperating.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable, and that's what happens when you have what might be termed deferred maintenance. This is why we need and why we are out there doing this, testing and exercising valves and making sure the system and all the connections are working and in good shape. Because if you don't do that on a regular basis, you run into problems and your valves fail, or you can't, close them once you've opened them. It's not a unique problem to the Village of Red Hook, that's for sure.
We are trying to change that.
Right. Yes. No, I think we are on the right path. And so that is, I regard that as good news. I mean, otherwise, these valves would have failed on their own in due course, and we wouldn't have necessarily known about it.
I believe that the repair of those two valves, Brent, you mentioned that broke on being exercised, are on schedule to be fixed this week.
Excellent.
Yeah. No, that's good news.
So hopefully we'll get that curve back down.
Yeah. Yeah. So that sounds great. We're in good shape. We also sent off, as we do every month, bacteriological samples that are sent out to the Smiths Environmental Laboratory in Hyde Park. And so we sent out 4 samples because we've added on a sampling site at Tradition. And all those samples came back absent for coliform and E. coli, which are the bacteriological agents that we test for. So that's always good news. And during the month of May, the water treatment plant used 65 gallons of sodium hypochlorite, which comes to an average daily use of 2.09 gallons a day. And it's thanks to the use of that sodium hypochlorite that we don't have any bacteria in the water. And that's it for my reports. We have a daily breakdown here, but I mean, the numbers are good. They're where we really want to see them. There's also a very brief wastewater system report, but I mean, I don't think we need to report on that until we start really, getting closer to the sewer project and how that starts to impact our work.
So some of the deficiencies listed there, Charlie, are what
Yeah.
actually spoke with Delaware about, and they're trying to get us some estimates. And
Okay.
so some of them we have to take, some we could kind of wait a little longer.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, I see this, some of the filters and some system maintenance that needs to happen.
Yeah, we have limited revenue, as you know, coming in until our system's up and running. But so we're trying to make do, and if we have to replace something, we have to replace. But
yeah.
At least we have a track going forward. So that's
Right.
good news.
And there are some items in there, I think, that could, reasonably be held off while we address the priorities. Yeah. Okay.
This may be the moment to tell you I did meet 2 gentlemen from Central Hudson, and I asked about the lighting project.
Excellent.
And the one gentleman said, "Oh, I need to get you an updated report." I said, "Yes, please." So I will follow up and make sure that he gets one, because I think from there we can then look again at, I believe it's purchasing the remaining lights.
Yes, we need to reconnect with NIPA and work through the rest of that process with the consortium.
So I'll copy you on any communication I send or get.
That'd be great. I mean, just as a reminder to everybody, this is the sort of ongoing replacement of the village streetlights, and the village engaging with this consortium of Northern Dutchess communities. The town of Red Hook is part of it, to take ownership of the streetlights and increase efficiency and save money in the long term. So it's a good project. We're a little behind in it, but that's great that you were able to contact the Central Hudson folks.
Great, thank you for your reports. And Mel Corca, or sorry, Trustee Kjarval.
Hi, thank you. Okay, so for Red Hook Together, June's discussion theme was community resiliency and was devoted to discussing the Abaddon International Project. The project looks at towns and villages and tries to measure the way our current and past work/policies contribute to sustainability, and envisions through a public process where we go from here toward more sustainability in 14 categories, from zoning to public health and beyond. After the Abaddon project of gallery boxes was presented to the full group. The Red Hook Together attendants were then sent into breakout rooms to discuss the categories housing and population, economic development, transportation, and public health in relation to their intersections with accessibility and sustainability. Whew,
If I can just add, it's Audubon.
sorry.
That's okay. You're probably not a bird watcher.
Well, yeah, not a professional one at least. The Human Relations Committee. The Human Relations Committee met a second time on Thursday, June 3rd, and we discussed the necessity for reaching out to the community to determine present needs before assuming our role in addressing them. We now have 3 working groups actively working on drafting a mission statement, committee application, and community survey. We have also made a plan to have a booth at the upcoming Hardscrabble event to introduce ourselves to the public. Which brings me to the next item, Hardscrabble Events Committee. The planning of Hardscrabble is off to a later start due to event regulations only recently being lifted. For various reasons, we have also experienced a large turnover in committee members this year. The current events committee is actively looking for event volunteers as we are excited to plan and throw this year's Hardscrabble event on Saturday, September 18th, 2021. More information will be available soon. And then the Red Hook Public Library. The Red Hook Public Library is having free in-person programs for kids this summer. Preschool programs will continue through July and August. Programs for the older kids will all be at St. Margaret's on the porches and lawns there. This summer, the library is collaborating with the community center to provide extended programs for kids between 7 and 11. We're working together to extend the coverage so families have free options for their kids over a longer period of time. There's 2 3-week-long sessions, Tuesday and Thursday at Red Hook Community Center and Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the library. All Abilities teens were invited by the Dutchess County Parks Department to paint a mural on the building at Wilcox Park. This will be happening over the first 2 opportunities for people of all ages with intellectual and/or cognitive disabilities. Also, there's an open seat on the Board of Trustees at the library. Anyone interested should contact the director, Dawn Jardine. That's it.
Thank you. And I will add that the village's tent is going to be loaned to the library to provide them a little more shade as they do their kids programs at St. Margaret's. And we are happy to do that. All right, I think that moves us into regular business. And the first thing on the agenda is to declare surplus for some equipment from the Highway Department. And I believe after much research and a few conversations, I believe all we need is a motion. And so I'm asking, I guess I'd say I'm making a motion to declare the following equipment surplus, i.e. no longer needed for municipal purposes, to be sold for fair and adequate consideration. And it is one STI Model 420C backpack leaf blower and one Mueller B100 tapping machine, both of which have probably exceeded their useful life, and both of which have been replaced. And if approved, then the Highway Department will sell this equipment for the best they can get, and that money, the proceeds, will go into the Highway Reserve Fund. So if I can get a second.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Are we going to be declaring surplus on the Dodge, or are we going to wait until we get the new truck?
So I was going to mention that after I did a little research on that, and we've already declared it surplus. It just, that resolution was somewhere in the middle of 2020. It just took a while to get the new truck and get that going, such that that one is now ready to sell. So I will mention that I don't think we need to declare it again. You all declared it surplus last year. That will go in the mix with these two. Any other questions or discussion?
But you have a second, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, Brent, you second.
Excellent. So I guess I'll do a poll. All in favor, Will, yay or nay?
Yay.
Charlie,
Yay.
Brent,
Yes.
Mel Corca.
Yay.
I am also yay. One of these days I'll get more formal, sorry, to all the trustees. And so as mentioned, there is the 2007 Dodge that was replaced last year. It was the, and assorted snow removal equipment that went with it. So that will be taken care of. And Dan and our highway superintendent will be happy. And actually, I'm going to change the order around just a bit. The next thing, which is important that I'm going to do, is the authorize the issuance of $40,000 in serial bonds for the purchase of the new police vehicle. And I imagine I'm probably supposed to read all of this, so I'm going to read it. Wow. Do you think I need to read it all?
No, you don't need to read it all. You can
Is-
talk about it and then you can usually, they just read the whereas lines.
The whereas or the therefores?
Where are we?
Therefore.
So here's the summary. The board did vote to acquire a 2020 Ford F-150 Responder XL to use in the operation of the Village of Red Hook Police Department. And so you approved the purchase of that, and the cost, the maximum estimated cost was $46,916. And such amount is hereby appropriated therefore. The $6,916 is going to come from the Village Red Hook Reserve Fund, and the remaining $40,000 is going to be financed by the issuance of not more than 40,000 serial bonds of the Village of Red Hook. And such borrowing is permitted by the Village of Red Hook pursuant to Article 8, Section 2 of the New York State Constitution. And we were given two options for this this bond. It could be a 5-year bond at a fixed interest rate, or it could be, there's a special term for it that will come to me at the end of this conversation, where it's basically a variable rate. You do a series of 1-year bonds, and I know I see Will shaking his head already. We've had this conversation, but what happens there is you do a bond for the year, and then you do another one for the following year at whatever interest rate it is a year from now. It certainly would be my recommendation to go with the fixed 5-year, because it certainly would appear that interest rates are likely to go up, and this makes it certain. We know what we're getting into. And that is actually also the recommendation of the of Bond Council as well. But let me see if there's anything else of note in these sections. It's basically would be authorizing the getting these bonds. And it's a lot of very specific language around doing that and doing it the right way, under the right sections. And so would anyone like any further? I believe you've all received a copy of this resolution.
Mhm.
So I would like to move that we adopt this resolution. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions while I close my shades here?
Was this a 5-year bond then, Karen?
5 years, yes.
Do you know what the interest rate is by any?
For some reason, I think it's 3 1/4,
Okay.
but it doesn't appear to be in here because
I
it
don't think-
probably becomes firm when the bond is issued.
Karen, in the memo from Rod, it says interest rate for the 5-year serial bond is a fixed rate of 2.25.
Oh, much better. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Was setting your expectations, so now that sounds good.
The other one was a ban, a bond anticipation note. So that was a 2% per annum cost. So
Expected.
yeah,
This sounds better.
it does.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, I will poll the board. Deputy Mayor Kowalczyk,
Yes.
Trustee Noonan,
Yes.
Trustee Lang,
Aye.
Trustee Kjarval.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Actually, the other thing I want to do is I want to, it actually is on our agenda, is highway equipment purchase. In meeting with the highway superintendent, there are two pieces of equipment that would be of enormous help in making the highway department more efficient in what they do. One is a 16-foot trailer that where they can put everything on it. It would be used both for water and regular street maintenance, etc. And this is estimated to be a cost of $6,000, and it's new, and it would thus be paid for by CHIPS. The other is a used service truck, and our highway superintendent says he's found one at 8,500, but he's also, that may have been a couple weeks ago. So I would like to propose that we have a not to exceed 10,000. This service truck is used for everything. And the idea would be to have it paid half by water and half by the general fund. And it's a smaller truck, but it keeps everything on it and enables the highway department to be that much more efficient. And so the recommended place for where the money would come from, half from the general fund, A 5110.2, which is capital outlay. And then the other half would come from the water. We don't seem to have a capital outlay budget. So this is, but it's E 8320.49 was where the other half would come from. And nope, that's something different. And so I would like to make a motion that we approve this, purchase, and thus give me, the mayor, authority to proceed under these, with these parameters.
Second.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Can anybody tell me why my recycling wasn't picked up this morning? Was there a glitch in the system?
Mine was picked up.
I was gonna say, I saw the trucks out.
Did you have contraband in there? Was there like food?
So I think it was
any of the-
fairly straightforward paper and, you know.
Paper today.
Yeah,
Paper
paper and cardboard and, you know.
Mine's gone.
I don't know why. I'm sure there must
You
be.
have garbage out with tags on it, Charlie?
I had garbage, tagged garbage in a separate bin, yes.
I don't
I
know.
know.
I can let them know though.
Yeah, right. Sorry to hijack a perfectly reasonable conversation about procurements.
I do have questions about the motion that's on the table, though.
Okay.
So is this truck going to replace the existing pickup truck that they have? And if it is, will we declare that also as surplus and try to get a couple bucks from? Because right now, a couple of years ago, we purchased a used truck for the town of Red Hook. This is the pickup truck, and I'm assuming we're replacing that one. And
I believe that is correct. And certainly the plan would be to, so we would likely declare that surplus at the next meeting.
Good.
I'm not prepared to do that now because I would like to get official approval from the highway superintendent to do that. But yes, that would be, I believe, because I believe that truck that we purchased was used when we purchased it. And I think, as I understand it, it's been pushed to the end of its limits.
That's correct.
So the truck that we're purchasing is for the village and the town, or just the village?
Just the village.
Village, okay.
And it is used, therefore we cannot use CHIP funding. But that's also why we're getting apparently a good service truck for 10,000 or less.
So did we vote on your motion, Karen?
We have not, we are in discussion.
Okay, good.
And any other questions or discussion? Hearing none. Deputy Mayor Kowalczyk,
Yes.
Trustee Noonan,
Yes.
Trustee Lang,
Yes.
Trustee Kjarval,
Yes.
and Mayor Smythe, yes. Excellent, thank you very much. All right, let me go back to what's on the list for regular business. I did want to talk a little bit about, I guess we'll start with our next meeting is our workshop on Thursday. And I wanted to ask the recommendations or allowances related to COVID is that we can have a meeting in person. Mel Corca and I are working on the technology to hopefully be able to do hybrid meetings going forward. But I would like to have a workshop meeting that's scheduled for this Thursday. And I'd just like to ask the question of if you all would like to meet in person. We'd meet in the courthouse so that we could still be distant enough, and any member of the public who wanted to attend would be obviously with it. You know, if we have hordes coming, we would have to come up with an alternative, but that does not appear to be the normal way. So there would be plenty of space for a number of people to be able to join us. And I know, I think it's mixed as to who likes being able to pop in virtually and who would like to be in person, but I'm just wondering if we could, if you would be interested in doing an in-person workshop this Thursday.
For myself, I won't be able to attend in person on Thursday, so it has to be virtual for me, but that doesn't rule out future meetings coming back.
I prefer in person, but I think it's more important to have consensus of the board and attendance by the board, many members as possible. So whatever works for most is fine. I enjoy personal contact and meeting personally, as opposed to via Ring Central. But I can live with either one. It won't break my heart one way or the other.
I can go either way as well. I can go
Ron.
either way as well. I'm very comfortable with the virtual. I'll put it that way.
I can go either way as well. I like working in person. I think it's like easier to come to consensus sometimes, but also it's more convenient for me with childcare to do it virtually. So whatever allows for the most amount of members, I support.
So since Charlie's not available this Thursday, and we really haven't tested a hybrid model, I'm going to suggest that we meet virtually on Thursday. And prior to the next trustee meeting in July, I hope to do at least one test of a hybrid version so that those of us who can be together, those of us who need or want to be virtual can be virtual. It's never going to be perfect for both sides. But I've seen a variety of options. Mel Corca and I met with the technology director of Ulster BOCES last week to ask about what, and I think we have most of what it takes to do a hybrid meeting in the courtroom. But I'd like to test it out before we actually try that.
Yeah, that sounds like the right way forward. And I think, you know, the nice thing about a hybrid format would be that, you know, members of the public that might otherwise not, you know, come into the building, maybe a little, you know, easier and more okay with being able to remote in.
I think that's, it certainly has been true for a variety of public meetings, that there's been significantly more participation because of the virtual option. And I'd love to make it so that it's doable. And there are sort of standard rules of engagement, if you will, that if people are willing to follow, then we can make that work. And if not, they can observe. And so the meeting isn't disrupted in a way that really impedes progress. But it would be really nice to see if we couldn't get as much participation as possible. That's great. And then the next that I just wanted to talk about, I wanted to mention that I did poll the board about allowing the court to open up in person, and you all did agree. So I did want to acknowledge, I did that only because the judge said he needed at least a week's notice to make sure that they had everything, they were able to notify people, et cetera. And the next court date for criminal court is this coming Wednesday. And one of the things that had been happening is, because virtual was different, if a defendant did not show virtually, there was no recourse. And so it became easier and easier for defendants not to appear. And so that will be starting up on Wednesday. And I had notified Sergeant Hildebrand prior to his making schedule in June, so he was aware. And town court is also opening. I believe their next open court date is the following next week. And as it relates to the office, currently we are, the door is locked. You can buzz and you are allowed into the building. And maybe we can talk a little further on Thursday in workshop about sort of the right way to do that, and how I've talked to Lara, I've talked to Greg and Ray downstairs, and also to Sergeant Hildebrand about you know, what our next step could be. And I think logically, anytime the public is coming in, we would ask them to wear a mask. The regulations are, if you are vaccinated, there really is no restriction, but when the public's coming in, we're not going to be asking if people are vaccinated or not. And so it just seems to make sense to ask everyone coming in the building to wear a mask. But we, and for now, we're going to leave the door locked and ask people to buzz in, and working with Greg to get his camera back up on his computer, and also looking to get a quote for having a buzzer for him right at his desk, so he doesn't have to get up every time, to make that a little more efficient. And the office hours are currently 11 to 4. And every once in a while, someone stops by and wants to drop something off or what have you outside of those hours. And so we're looking into, yes, there is a drop box around the front, but people are coming to the side door because that's where they're used to coming in. So we're looking at putting a drop box. Ideally, would love to put a you know, a slot in the door. The door has a variety of electronics associated with it. So the person who put that in is coming by the next couple of days to take a look at it and see if that's a problem or if it's possible. And if not, we'll look at maybe putting a box, because it would be great to have a little slot in the door with the box inside, you know, a locked box inside that either Lara or Greg could open when they come in, or we'll put a box on the, probably put it on the wall. But that just seems like a nice way to enable people to pop their pop their bills in the box or whatever. That
Are we still using the, I'm sorry, Karen, are we still using the night deposit slot out front of the building?
Well, I was just going to say that, Greg's been having issues with that. He has to throw like constant books in, reach his arm in. So things are starting to get stuck. So I don't know. It's just, we've had calls where asking if we got something and Greg runs out there and throws a couple phone books through it. So I don't know.
from the outside to make sure that goes
Yes.
through the slot? Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay, I was wondering what the
Yeah.
books were for.
Yeah. So not sure why that's happening. I mean, maybe it's, I don't know, moisture sticking. I don't know. Or it's just really old inside there. It's been there for a long time.
Yeah, it just seems that because that's not the way people go in, that it would make more sense to have an active one at the door that people come to. And so we can either make sure that Greg checks that box every few days anyway, or we can make a note and say, please go around the corner. But we have to determine what we can do box-wise first.
And Karen, would you be sending out links to Thursday's meeting then?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll
Once I
set
figure-
that up tomorrow, Karen, and send it.
Thank you, Laura. I
Yep.
was going to say, once I figure out how to make sure that happens.
Yep, I'll take care of that.
Yes. All right. The next thing, I guess I just, well, we'll talk a little more on Thursday about the office and its functioning, just to more of a working conversation about that. But that's sort of where we are right now. I did also want to mention the Dutchess County, help me, Melcorca, Jody Miller's
The Human Rights Commission.
Human Rights Commission, that's it. They have requested that each municipality designate a liaison. And I would like to designate Melcorca as our designee. And I'm not sure we need a motion, or I guess I'm just letting you all know that that's what I plan to do. I will reach out to Jody Miller and let her know. And and Melcorca has indicated that she would be willing to do that. So I don't know if you have any questions about that. No? Okay. And
Good
then
luck.
the other, sorry.
And during the reorg, I think it was discussed that Melcorca would be the liaison, so.
I ran into Jody Miller over the weekend, and she mentioned that she was just waiting for a name. So I will send her such. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention was the electric vehicle charging station level 2. I am still getting all the details associated with it. It is my understanding that the town is taking care of all the payments. I think they're getting grants from, I think, 2 different places. I joined them out in our municipal lot as they were discussing where it would go with Central Hudson, which is why, Charlie, I had a chance to talk to Central Hudson. What we agreed to was the last 2 parking spots on the south side, the southwest side, so the farthest away from Route 9.
By the Key Bank lot there.
Yes, right next to the Key Bank lot, and the last two spots next to the street. And the reason for that is they do need to put up a new pole. I was kind of hoping they'd put, a new pole right next to an old pole, but that it doesn't work that way. It can't go right next to. It has to be slightly different. And they will, at this point, they tell me they need to move the lamp post, but that didn't seem to be an issue for anybody, and it did not appear to be being paid for by the village. And it didn't seem to make sense to have an extra spot at the very end that wasn't electric. And level 2, so what we have now, or level 1, which is slower, and so level 2 is just a faster charge.
Do we know, I mean, the level 1s were put in under that state program and the electricity is free for the moment. What about the level 2s?
Again, I need to get more detail on it. It would be my understanding that initially it will be free.
Similar type deal, yeah.
I believe it's a similar type deal.
Works out
That's,
very well for me in my electric car.
it's what?
Works out very well for me in my electric car.
Excellent. And it's a generic one. So as I understand it, it works for all.
Right. We can't just put it in for those Tesla users.
Absolutely not.
That would be terrible.
Definitely not. Just so you know, Tesla is actually, they actually had come to the town planning board as a pre-review. They're looking to put, I think 4 stations, 4 Tesla superchargers at the Hannaford parking lot.
Wow.
Well, they come in chunks of 4, so it's either 4 or 8, is what I'm told. So if you're concerned about your friends with Tesla, that'll, what they
Just
really
the
should have
long-
is one of
just
their
the
own
long
at
term
home.
being
So
taken care of. Yes, that's good.
I don't think Mr. Musk needs any help, but I just wanted to let you know that we had discussed that. If anyone is interested, concerned, curious, please let me know. I have reached out to Supervisor McKeon to find the details around this program, because I know it had been discussed with Mayor Ed, and I just want to make sure that I and we all have the details of what's actually happening, and we don't, get a surprise bill at some point. I don't believe it will. It is my understanding that the town is covering, and again, I think there's grant money that's covering this.
Right. I mean,
So-
we always want to be mindful of using up valuable parking spots in the village, but I mean, this would seem to have benefits that outweigh the reduction in spaces for just regular users.
As the gentleman from Tesla said at the town planning board meeting, it's not taking away a parking spot. It is still a parking spot. One question that I have is, we have a sign that says electric vehicles only.
Right.
And I wonder if we should perhaps consider changing that language to for electric vehicles, but not saying only. Something to ponder.
It is, and I guess actually it should be thought about, given that with the new fast charging stations, you don't need to park there for 6 hours in order to get a full charge. So, worth thinking about. I mean, it sounds like it might be problematic if the whole reason is to encourage people with electric cars and have them charge up and go and shop and eat and do things in the village. And you're disencouraging them if they're constantly turning up and those charging spots are taken by regular vehicles.
It would be interesting to know how much use we get of the 2 we have now. It's not always full, and on a busy night when people are coming to go to the restaurant, etc., to have it say you can only park here if it's electric vehicle. Right. It's literally a sort of a little twist that just says for electric vehicles. If it doesn't say electric vehicles only, we don't do a lot of policing of the parking lot anyway.
No, I mean, maybe we can get that usage data from ChargePoint, or
I'm sure we can get it from somewhere. Yeah.
Look at the usage in the existing spaces and get a feel for that. I have a feeling it's not heavily used, just from my own usage of the place.
But don't we want to keep people in town more? So if we're giving them faster charges, they'll be out of town faster? Let's think about that for a minute.
Hang around for an hour or 2. Come on.
But if you think it can go faster, you're more likely to come, oh, I can do a quick charge there. But then we grab them with all the exciting things they can do in the village, and thus they will end up staying longer. Or they'll say, oh, I need to come back. So I'm not sure making the charge slower is going to is a net positive in the end somehow.
Well, we already have the slow charging spaces.
Exactly. So that's all that I have there. I don't have anything for executive session this evening. Now would be a time for public comment. We do have a few people from the public, so if anyone would like to unmute themselves and share whatever's on your mind, we would welcome that.
Yeah, I look
Amy,
truly
please.
abysmal. It's been a long day. I just have a question. Would it be possible for the same funding to be used to put the super fast charging stations in a privately owned lot? I'm thinking of I know you can't answer questions. This is a comment, food for thought. Firehouse Plaza is a very large lot that is underused. And it occurs to me that if our goal is to get people to just come to the village for a spell, that might work as well. It's just a thought, not that that it doesn't belong in the municipal lot, just it's a big lot over there. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that. Anyone else? Bailey.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say hello, welcome to the new mayor. Very happy to have you on the team. I just had two, like Amy, question comments. The first was, how would we keep apprised on the village's progress and views on short-term rentals? And the second is about who would be the best venue or person to approach with concerns about speeding on village roads. I'm getting a little concerned. I live over on Elizabeth Street and it's turning into a bit of a racetrack lately. And so just who or what we might have a conversation about that. So thank you to everybody. And also very excited to have Trustee Chiarval as the liaison to the commission. Really excited. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
And Karen, just so you're aware, the police department does have a speed trailer. So when they get complaints, you can talk to the sergeant and he can put the speed trailer in locations.
And I was just going to add, it would help if you wanted to send your information, your concern. You could either send it to me as mayor, mayor@redhooknyvillage.org, or you could drop a note off and address it to the police department, either one. But given that you've made this mention, I will mention it to the sergeant tomorrow when I see him.
Great, thank you.
Ellie, what location did you say it was?
Elizabeth Street.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
And regarding what our discussions are, I will be trying hard to do agendas, trying to get them a little farther in advance and putting them up on the website in advance. We are not currently actively discussing short-term rentals, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be doing that sometime soon. So keep an eye on, and so that you can, and I'm sure there will be discussions that will become public hearings or public comments and things like that. So we will, one of the things that I do want to do is do more different types of communication so that we are able to get out more broadly what we are working on and what we are doing. And so we are, Mel Korka and I in particular on our communications committee are working on how we can improve our communications and get it more timely and more active. So that will be a good way, a good impetus for us to get there, so people know when we're about to start talking about things that matter to people. And now I think I'm supposed to it's just lost my agenda. Any commentary that any of the trustees would like to make?
I was just going to say that if there is, if there's concerns about the STR issue, she's free to write an email as well or a letter and let us know too, because that's helpful. It's helpful to know what people are thinking.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Deputy Mayor?
I'm good.
Trustee Noonan? You're on mute.
we have an idea of what the town's position is on the short-term rentals?
Right now, there's two town committees that have been reviewing it. One is the Intermunicipal Task Force, and they're proposing restrictions on short-term rentals, primarily allowed in the ag business district, but not so much in the higher density subdivisions such as College Park, Traditions, Forest Park, Linden Acres. And then the EDC, the Economic Development Committee, they're more in favor of short-term rentals because of the lack of accommodations we have, and the need to accommodate tourism, which visit our shops, our local eateries, and our local attractions. So it's now in the hands of the town board to deliberate these two different disparate trains of thought. Hopefully they can pull it together. Village of Red Hook is a lot different than the town, and we do operate as a separate municipality. So whenever we do get around to doing that, I'm sure we'll be listening to as many people as we can to formulate our own ideas and opinions.
Right.
Thank you.
And the Intermunicipal Task Force has been, wrestling and looking at this issue for a long time. So there was a lot of advice and a lot of review of existing regulations for what they are in other communities, and trying to reach that happy compromise. But
And I just wanted to, I'm sorry, Charlie.
This only applies to the town, obviously, and so the village will have its own, issues and unique values that we want to address with any future SDR regulation.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify that if people don't know, that the town has their own zoning rules and the village has their own zoning rules. So even though the town is voting on this, it does not affect our regulations currently, because we'll have to pass our own law.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. I think it's possible the town board will be having a public hearing. So that's something to look for anyone who might be interested in making some comments on that. All right, any other comments from any trustee? We'll take that as a no. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Karen, one more
Yes.
thing.
Yes,
I
sir.
think I need a formal acknowledgement to pay all the invoices.
Yes, you do. Thank you. I knew I was going to forget that. Thank you to all of the trustees for going through and signing all the vouchers. I do need a motion to pay the bills after audit, or I'm making that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. All right, now, Deputy Mayor, you're on.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting. Congratulations to Mayor Smythe for her first successful meeting, and any more to come.
Thank you. I think I need a second for that, though.
Seconded.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Karen. Great job.